So yesterday you heard from our amazing legacy panel, professionals who spent decades learning, growing, and remaining dedicated to employment for all. On the other side of the spectrum are folks who received those services, who have fought for self-determination, their own path, a fair wage, meaningful work, and sustainable living. And we want to hear their stories. Our first speaker hails from Eugene and owns his own business delivering highly confidential documents. So he's kind of like your friendly neighborhood spy. Throughout his day, he tallies over 26 miles using public transit and his power wheelchair. While mostly going from business to business, he's been known to frequent secret drop sites. Imagine Ben leaving ciphered code inside a Snickers wrapper on the ground under the bench by the birch tree next to the bridge, only on odd-numbered Fridays, unless school only has a half day. Not only has Ben a trusted keeper of secrets and timely deliveries, he creates and coordinates invoices, billings, and deposits. We're pleased to have him. Joining Ben are his parents, Gary and Jane, and mentor, friend, and linchpin, Scott Whetham. Please put your hands together for Ben Carter.
So, what time do you get up in the morning, Ben? 9?
No.
4, 9? And 4, 9?
Yeah.
Pretty early. How do you get to work?
Is that on?
Do you ride the bus?
Yeah.
Ride the bus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets up early, parents get him ready, rides the bus to work.
Yeah.
Where's the first place you go after you get to work?
This is
Yep, senior services. Ben has a number of county and state agencies that he delivers the mail to, and one day, same day mail service with a lot of very confidential information. Some of the local Lane County health clinics, and the most important part of the day, where do you go to lunch? Lunch?
yeah.
So we were talking earlier, Gary on my right and Jane, when they go to the Oregon Duck game, Ben and his family are big Duck fans, and so are we, but the buses will be lined up near Austin Stadium, and just about every one of the buses they pass, getting to and from the game, the drivers will be saying, "Hi, Ben." So he's pretty popular with the Lane Transit bus system. We're going to watch a video, and then hopefully you'll have questions for Ben or his. One of the things that we realize is it's so important to connect family in the process of job development and getting out in the workforce. Some of the fears are my son or daughter going out in that cold, cruel community independently and going to work every day. And so they're going to address that during the video, and maybe if you have questions around that kind of thing or questions for them after the video, we'll just do a very informal question and answer period. Ben came to our program 8 or 9 years ago. We did an assessment with Ben. The basic idea is to match the abilities of one of the individuals in our program to the need of a community-based employer. And based on his assessment, we realized that he wouldn't be happy in an office setting, so we kind of created a position.
We had a need for someone to courier our mail from our office to one of our other divisions. And now the job's expanded to 6 different divisions. So Ben's doing courier service for 6 different locations, and it's just amazing.
Ben has an incredible work ethic. He's a working man. His primary route is about 26 to 28 miles a day, and that's a combination of his power wheelchair and the transit system.
One of the things that's important is to always think about people's abilities. And he wants a job, and he does great at his work. And it's a pleasure to work with him every day.
He is a really self-motivated worker. He loves being around people, and what a great job for him because he's so social. He interacts a lot with people, and every day he gets to go and say hi to everybody. It's just, again, the perfect match for Ben. You know, at first it was pretty scary that he'd be out in the community all alone. And I think I set more limits on him than he had for himself.
Ben's life has improved immensely just being, having a job and having a place to go every day and the people he meets, and I just can't imagine him not having a job.
Ben's courier service has been extremely successful. Bottom line is, if you want to work, you can. So that's kind of Ben and the Carter Courier service. Are there questions people might have for parents or Ben?
I want to know, Ben, what did you do before you had this business?
Did you work at Lifetouch?
Yes.
Lifetouch is the photo contractor for the school districts. So they're, Ben did some clerical work at Lifetouch. And some work at Goodwill. Ben's an outside guy, so being in an office the entire shift, we still do some clerical stuff. You do your invoices?
Yes.
Yeah. And take care of the cost, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we do some clerical stuff at the end of each month, compiling invoices and then bank does a bank deposit. But working outside, and then, he's the mailman, rain or shine, he's there. But working in an office the entire time, and with not a lot of social interaction, just wasn't like a perfect match. So this seemed to be a little more along the lines of what worked well for Ben. Would you think that's true?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to grab the mic real fast and just say, from the parent's perspective, just a couple tips as you're working to assure us that our kids are out in the cold, cruel world, but with support. So I know for Gary and I, we didn't see the kind of training that Scott and AWC put into Ben to make him comfortable and safe in the community. So it might be something that as you proceed to work with families, is let them know. What helped me was the level of support training that I never saw. I didn't go with Ben to work, but it meant so much to me to know that AWC always responded to the fear. Maybe we were worried about people downtown coming up to Ben and taking his money or something, and so AWC and Scott provided that kind of training right away. We had training, well, guess what? There's a lot of crummy drivers out there, and even though Ben's in the crosswalk, they don't stop. So, that happened one time, that the car breezed through the crosswalk with Ben in it. Talk about scary. So right away, Scott and his team responded to my fears and our fears and said, well, let's do more practice and training for crosswalk safety, even though it wasn't Ben's fault, and he did exactly what he had to do. So I think the partnership and the response from the team made Gary and I feel like we could say goodbye to Ben in the morning and not kind of be in constant fear that something could happen. So with Scott and his team, it really has made all the difference for us.
So I just had a quick question. How did you overcome the cold factor in the winter?
What kind of gear do you have?
Uh,
You have a raincoat?
yeah.
Parka?
Yeah.
Is it green and yellow?
It's a dog outfit. Yes.
Okay, so, as we all know, the boat rehab will help by purchase any kind of equipment needed necessary. Ben already had his own, but he's got a great parka and some warm clothes and pretty much, I don't think he already had it. Yeah, he already had it, but that is an option for, the fair weather, the foul weather gear and stuff. But good shoes, good parka, duck colors, he's good to go. Yeah.
Except in the snow.
Hang on, then make sure they do.
Snow presents some issues, yeah.
I guess my question is, how did he know that he wanted to be like a mail carrier in that type of a business? And how did it start out?
How did you know? I think one of the things we saw, we didn't know for sure, Ross, but we tried a couple other things, and a couple of the things that we tried didn't work. And I mentioned earlier, he's not an office man. He's not the clerical, full-time clerical person. Likes being out and about, moving around. He's knows more about LTD bus routes than most of the drivers, I think. And basically, outside and meeting different people at each office is important to have that social interaction. We didn't really know. I'm not sure Ben knew, or his parents. We tried it, and it was a good match. And that was easy to recognize. And we've been doing it since how long? Since 2000, about 15 years.
So if this business is 15 years old, maybe this is not a relevant question, but I was wondering if, Ben, are you still trying to grow your business? Do you want to work more hours? Do you have more hours in the day that the bus system runs? You know, those kinds of things.
Yes.
Okay, so it's grown so much that we have 2 other people in the program helping him with, because he doesn't have time in the day to finish up the route. So it became popular. We've added, then started with just some of the county offices. Now it's expanded to senior disability services. But right now working about as many hours a week as he feels like he needs to do, and at minimum wage rates.
So you just said it's at minimum wage rates. I was assuming that this was self-employment and billing at a per job rate or something. So maybe you could explain a little bit about that, the financial structure.
And that's where we end up at the end of the month doing the invoices I spoke about. Ben has a template on the computer and type in the new dates. The rates only change every once in a while. We actually contract with the county and invoice each of the county departments at the end of each month.
Is it
Invoice
for hours worked at minimum wage, not per job?
Each route, so that the payment structure financially for 5 days a week, service each day is a flat rate, and then for 2 days a week is the second flat rate. So at the end of each month, the bill is either 5 days a week or 2 days a week. So we invoice the different departments at the county. One invoice goes to the health clinics, one goes to the DD office, and one goes to the Health and Human Services Division in the County Commissioner's office. Did that answer your question?
No,
No?
not really. The question, I'm sorry, I'll try and ask it a different way. Is there, if you're sending a monthly bill,
If you're sending a monthly bill, is there any way for Ben to make more than minimum wage because you're covering some of his administrative costs for keeping that invoice system and all that kind of stuff? Or is it just on his work hours at minimum wage?
He gets paid $11.75 an hour for the hours that he works.
Okay.
And then we invoice each of the different
Departments for that. Okay.
And then that's supplemented by the funding through DD services.
So the money that comes into Ben, what he's charging, is enough to cover, because he has so many contracts, it is enough to cover the minimum wage. The more contracts he gets within different companies, the more money he can make. So currently, he's pretty happy doing what he's doing with those amounts of hours right now, but we certainly could increase those rates as we do annually at the rate of inflation, all those kinds of things that come into play. We increase those as we go. Did that help?
Yeah, I'm sorry. And the director.
Thanks, Liz. We just, Ben does the running, I help him with the invoices, we kind of stay out of the financial. Easier that way. Anything you want to say? Okay, go ahead.
Ben, you look like you're feeling kind of shy maybe, but maybe you can answer this. As you're going around your route, if you had a problem, are you using a cell phone? Or how do you connect when you need maybe some assistance from somebody?
Yeah, but he's got some numbers on speed dial. And one of them is AWC and my cell phone. So if there are issues, he's certainly not shy when it comes to using the telephone.
He teaches me things about cell phones and computers and iPads. And, he looks at me sometimes and goes, "What are you doing?" He does know how to use those.
And one of his other jobs, other than doing bank deposits and invoices at the end of the month, he delivers the invoices to his customers, provides same-day service, and we do feedback for him once in a while, just for the agency that he serves, and they're always just raving reviews and perfect marks. But the other job we do, when the elevator in our building breaks down, we have to give them a call, and it's a lot quicker than if any of our staff makes that call. So he makes that happen to us, an advocate for others that need the elevator.
Thank you, Ben.
Other questions? How are we doing on time, all? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.